Hey guys, it's Todd, the Cybertruck truck guy. And today we're coming at you from the Home Depot parking lot because I wanted to make a point. I want to talk today about the new F150 Lightning Pro, or the commercial edition of the new Ford F150 Lightning, and why I think it's brilliant and it's going to be wildly successful. And lastly, why it won't matter to the Cybertruck, because the F150 Lightning is not competing with the Cybertruck. The F150 Lightning is competing with F150s. Now, I do think the regular F150 Lightning is going to sell quite well, but what a lot of people who don't understand commercial fleet truck use and what commercial fleet owners want will have completely missed the point and the power behind the F150 Lightning Pro. Today, we're going to rely on some of my famous truck guy graphic systems. I think it's really important to set the stage here on not just the price, but the price relative to what you're getting, and why for a lot of people this makes a lot more sense than the entry-level Cybertruck. One of the things that I get asked all the time is, are we going to buy Cybertrucks for our commercial landscaping and snow removal business? And while I can see an advantage maybe using them as manager vehicles, there are some real problems with the Cybertruck when it comes to actual fleet usage. And the Ford F-150 Lightning, I think there's a good chance we're going to be adding some of these to our fleet. And it starts with price. So I want you to know they're starting at $40,000 for the 230-mile range truck. For that vehicle, you're paying $32,500 because of the credit. The other thing that's really huge that, again, a lot of people don't realize, they're looking at all the other specs of the Cybertruck or the finish quality. Yeah, that's all good, but the entry-level Cybertruck is not four-wheel drive. And in Truckland, large parts of it that are located, from where I am in North, you really need four-wheel drive on your pickups. The problem is pickup trucks, because they're so light in the back, they get real squirrely unless you have a lot of weight back there. And you need to work a lot of times in snow and ice conditions. So for instance, in our business, we do snow removal. I can't use a non-four-wheel drive vehicle during snowstorms. It just sits there. I mean, we have some irrigation vans that just sit there because they're not four-wheel drive. This is a huge deal, the four-wheel drive. The other thing is the crew cab, which the Cybertruck has. But the fact that they're offering four-wheel drive crew cab, $40,000 entry point with the $7,500 credit for $32,500 is insane. Now, let me tell you what I mean by it competing with other F-150s. So, if you take the cheapest truck you can get, which is the XL base, not as stripped down as a fleet vehicle that you spec with vinyl seats and that kind of thing, but this gets you, think of the fleet vehicles probably being somewhere $4,000 to $6,000 less than this. But remember, a lot of smaller contractors, they can't buy those fleet vehicles. They're not putting in fleet orders. They're buying XL series, the simplest XL. If you get a standard Ford F-150 XL trim, their lowest trim level, you get the crew cab, that is $38,990. Then you add four-wheel drive, that's $35,110. or $42,500. That doesn't give you the power panel in the back that you can run equipment from at your job site. So if you want that, you have to upgrade to the hybrid engine. And that adds another $44,995 for a total of $46,995. The problem here is that hybrid engine, well, that gives you the ability to run the power outlets on the truck, but it doesn't give you very good torque. So it's somewhere, I'd have to look, but I think it's somewhere in the 400 foot-pound range. So that means towing is going to be a chore. So you could say, okay, well, we're not going to get that. We're going to get the diesel engine. Well, that would add $49.95, and that still wouldn't equal the torque that you're getting with the F150 Lightning Pro. You could say, well, I don't really care about that. I want something that's fast. You know, I want to get the fastest truck, which, you know, who would, right, for a work truck? But I'm just mentioning that to get the high performance engine, you're going to spend $2,000 more to get the big 5-liter gas engine for the truck. The point is, the F150 Lightning Pro can do what this can do. It has more torque than this, and it has more performance than this. So you actually get like everything. You get a fast, hard pulling, very utilitarian truck for $32,500 versus $46,000, $40,000, whatever. I mean, we're talking about 20 to 30% less for a vehicle that's superior in every way to its ICE counterpart, except one, which is range. It's going to cost less on the front end, but then it's going to be less to maintain. And then the big one, fuel cost. I don't know exactly where the fuel economy is going to come in, but regardless, when you're comparing any electric vehicle to their ICE counterpart, it usually is somewhere between 50 and 75% less to refuel with electricity than to refuel with fuel. The point is that you have lower cost, less maintenance, less fuel. The decision makes itself. So I think the elephant in the room then that everyone wants to know about is, yeah, but range. It only has 230 miles of range. Now, the Tesla, the Cybertruck, only has 250. At this point, that's not very much difference. But even when you're comparing it to a 300-mile range vehicle, here's the thing. My vehicle that I use for work and as a personal vehicle, I would really want to have that minimum of 300 miles because I actually go on road trips. But for these fleet vehicles, at least in our case, what we use, most of our vehicles travel less than 300 miles in a week. I have trucks that we purchased 5 years ago that still have less than 60,000 miles on them because they leave the shop, they go to a job, they're at that job for 1 to 4 hours, then they get lunch and then they go to another job. A busy day for most of our crews would be like 4 jobs. And a lot of our guys go to the same job or they might go to 2 jobs in a day and they're putting on 50 miles in a day. The range issue is really not an issue with most fleet trucks because most of the time you're going to bring it back, you plug it in, charge overnight. When the electricity is the cheapest, you're ready to go in the morning. You never have to worry about refueling. You don't have to worry about fleet management. You don't worry about the range. Even if you're towing in town, so let's say that mileage gets cut in half. The most mileage we could go in a day is 120. I don't know, even our busiest crews that do the most driving, it's pretty rare for them to come anywhere close to 120 miles in a day. It just isn't common when you have contractors, you know, that are typically going to maybe 1, 2, or 3 jobs in a day. And otherwise, the vehicle's just sitting there. What Ford did here was brilliant. They recognized that the key to unlock the fleet buyer's enthusiasm would be much more about cost of ownership, and they'd be much less focused on range, and so they could take some of the battery capacity and lower the cost. So what initially might seem a negative when you're comparing it to the Cybertruck is not something most fleet buyers are really going to be that worried about. Point number 2, the fact that they're offering a pro-grade interior is a big deal. One of the problems with the Cybertruck is that it's the same interior, which is a relatively nice plush interior for all their trim levels. But the reality is, for commercial trucks, you actually want things like vinyl seats and vinyl floors and plastic components around the cab. Why? Because the people that are getting in and out of the vehicle, they're covered in mud, they're covered in dust, they're covered in asphalt, they're covered in concrete products. They're getting, you know, in the winter, they're getting salt. I get into some of our trucks afterwards and there's salt all over because the sidewalks guys are jumping in and out, and every time they're grabbing on the door handle and they're touching things, they're getting that everywhere. You want something that is super easy to almost be able to power wash out. Most people will go, oh, that's a cheap interior. It is, but it's easy to clean. And that is huge on the fleet side. Point number 3, conventional bed. Now, I personally, as a personal vehicle, I love the high sidewalls of the Cybertruck with the integrated rolling retractable tonneau cover. As a contractor, as somebody that has fleet vehicles, I don't really like it so much. Why is that? Well, a lot of times when we're parked, you're reaching over the bed in order to get tools, or you're trying to dump materials in the bed, or you're trying to get materials out, or you want to install a rack system. Rack systems are extremely important in the contractor world. And the way the Cybertruck is designed, it looks like even if it will accommodate a rack, it's not going to be as simple or as low cost or as utilitarian as existing racks are for existing flat beds. The flat conventional bed configuration is ideal for all the accessories that are available right now, and it's ideal to constantly be reaching in and out of or loading materials from the side in a way the Cybertruck isn't. So the fourth thing is Ford's new telematics system. And again, if you don't run a fleet, if you're not trying to manage where all your vehicles are, what are the maintenance requirements on them, have they all had their DOT inspections? There's all these things that go into managing a commercial fleet that is a huge pain in the butt. So over the last decade or so, this whole industry of fleet telematics has come online, and it's mostly third-party companies. That's what we have. We have a third party, it's actually through Verizon, a third-party Fleetmatics platform that gives you geolocation on all your vehicles, and you can program in things like maintenance schedules. You can see if people are speeding, all this other stuff. The thing that makes Ford's system incredible is that they're going to have access to update and write new Fleetmatics tools that can be pushed out to all their vehicles. So instantly, everyone has the new software, and every vehicle is integrated with this telematics package. This is really, really smart. And one of the things about the telematics software that is super clever is this idea that people can use company vehicles, bring them home, charge it from their personal charger, and then be reimbursed based on how much charge they put in the vehicle. That's brilliant. Because again, most people have no idea the time and energy and hassle it is to manage fleet fueling solutions. Mostly you have like on-site fuel, and then you have fuel cards, and then you have to reconcile them, and there's all these challenges. The integrated solution that Ford is presenting provides a host of opportunities for fleet managers to manage their fleets more effectively. So I think Ford's got the right idea. I think they picked the right entry point and the right point of focus, and I think that by really competing heavily on this fleet segment, I think they're going to surprise a lot of people with how well received the F-150 Lightning is. And then I think a lot of people are going to be really surprised that it has no bearing whatsoever on reservations for the Cybertruck. That's my take on the F-150 Lightning Pro. I'm going to do a separate video where I talk about the pros and cons of the Cybertruck relative to the F-150 and why I still believe the Cybertruck will be the #1 best-selling full-size truck in the electric vehicle sector for some time. So, but that's next time. All right, thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Bye.